Hi, I'm Stuart Howie from Flame Tree Media. I want to talk to you today about print, the real story. Now, a lot of people have been talking down newspapers. In fact, newspaper people, editors, publishers, managers, do a pretty good job of it themselves. But I think they're wrong, because I think there's a great future in newspapers, but it's a very different story between big media and big newspapers and for the small town newspaper at a local parish pump level. So that's one of the reasons why I'm here in New Zealand, in the city of Auckland, because here we conducted at Flame Tree Media with the New Zealand Community Newspaper Association a survey of publishers to find out what's really going on in the small newspaper market. So I'd say from that survey there were really three key findings. Number one was that 80% of the publishers that we spoke to were very or extremely confident about the future. Secondly, they rated their overall business performance in 2017. They gave it a real thumbs up, a 7 out of 10 on average. And that's pretty good when you consider the digital disruption and the real raid on print revenue, particularly from Facebook and Google. Thirdly, there was no great rush to go into digital. So they were happy with the results they're getting from print, and they weren't necessarily pushing into digital. So one of the things I go out of that, given everything we else hear about good old newspapers, is why? Why are small publishers way more confident than some of those big media bosses? So let's talk to the boss of the New Zealand Community Newspaper Association.
I think the local community newspapers are doing pretty well in their markets because they're really focusing on that local community. The content is hyper-local. It's content that you're not going to find anywhere else in any online news source. And I think it's that unique content of local people, and whether on the sports field with high school or college kids to local business community people out there that you're talking to on a daily basis, and they're reporting that into the local papers.
So what's happening in New Zealand is actually reflected in research that's come out of the States. This report is from the Tao Centre, and it's of the small newspaper market in the US. Now understand that there's about 7,000 newspapers in America. So let's call that the bulk of the print industry. And 97% of those newspapers are in the small market bracket. That is, they have circulations of 50,000 or less. So some great lessons in there. And this report actually, again, is cautiously optimistic about the future. But like our survey, this report points to a few things that newspaper publishers need to do. Firstly, they need to modernise their operations. Secondly, they need to diversify their income and revenue streams. Thirdly, it's pretty clear that the standalone newspapers or the small groups are quite vulnerable. So all this talk about print, I think it's more than just me being romantic about the industry. In fact, research does show that print equals trust, print equals credibility, and it does convert to sales. Well, that's all I have today about newspapers. But if you want more information, please go to my website, flametreemedia.com.au or flametreemedia.co.nz. I'm Stuart Howie, and may your news be good news.